Good afternoon. Hi, folks. Phil McPhail here with United Country Lifestyle Properties of Maine. Come along with me today. We're going to go look at a property in one of my favorite places in the world. This is Seboeis Plantation, and behind me is South Branch Lake. We're actually at the public boat landing right now. We're going to talk about this lake and some of the other features of the area a little later on. But right now, we're going to take a look at 11.2 acres in the middle of the woods with some beautiful timber on it. There's probably enough timber on this land to build a couple of DIY cabins if you wanted to do that. The property is priced very reasonably at $33,900. So come along with me. We're going to go look at a property in an area where I grew up. Folks, before we talk more about this property and location, don't forget, hit that like button down below, share this video with a couple of your friends, and don't forget to hit that subscription button and ring the bell and turn on all notifications. Seboeis Plantation, it's a very special town to me, folks. I grew up in this area. The population of this town is currently about 40 people. That's less than one person per square mile. Seboeis in the native Penobscot language is a word meaning or translating to Little Brook. This area has many little brooks running through it, so I'm sure that's how they came up with that name. This is a remote area, so don't count on your GPS to get you here. You can probably get to the town, but you will not get to the property. As a matter of fact, you're going to need to come here with me or a buyer's agent who's made arrangements with me to get access to the gated road system that the property is on. Tell you a little bit of history of this town. When I was a child, this area was often frequented by the Boston professional athletes. They would come up here, stay at South Branch Lake camps or other places, and they would hunt trophy white-tailed deer back then, and or they were fishing for smallmouth bass over in South Branch Lake. And a little story, my sister came home to me and she knew how big of a Red Sox fan I was, and she was so excited to tell me that she had just tagged a deer for catcher Carlton Fisk from the World Series teams that played back then. That they finally did win, but I was a diehard fan for many years before they got there. Seboeis Plantation, where are we? Well, the property's located about 18 miles away from the town of Howland, which would be the nearest town for gas and shopping of any sort. Bangor, Maine is 51 miles away, a little over an hour's drive from the property's location. Portland is 180 miles, or 2 hours and 40 minutes roughly. And Boston is 285 miles, 4 hours, 30 minutes, give or take, depending on traffic. All right, folks, this is the gate that leads into our association here. And it's a pretty substantial one. We keep it locked at all times. Emergency services do have keys to this, so if you were to have an emergency, you can get out of here. But we do keep it locked. Like I said, every owner has a special key that fits this gate, and we're only given a few, so we don't make copies. They cannot be copied. And I'll lock this when I'm not trying to talk to you. It makes it a lot easier. But just wanted you to know this is a gated access road. It's part of the association. And this is part of our dues that maintain the road and keep it gated. We've made it in through the gate as we showed you earlier, and now we've arrived at the property. And I'm going to show you, we've got a survey of the property. Ask us, we'll send it to you online. We've got a boundary pin located just off the road here, marked with some flagging so we can find it out the street. We have 305 feet of frontage along East Branch Road right here. We're going to walk up here just a little ways, and I just want to show you kind of an interesting feature. There's an existing driveway on the property, but it comes in on a neighbor's lot and it's not a deeded right of way. So you're going to have to put a culvert in here, build about 60 feet of driveway, and that will land you on the existing roadway that goes into a nice building site. We're down here on the other end of the property on the road frontage. And again, we've marked the surveyor's stake in here in the woods with a piece of orange ribbon. If you happen to be in here without me, with your other realtor, or somebody with a gate key, that's the other end of the lot. Okay, we're back down here where we started on the lot at the southeast corner, and we're probably 35 feet from the property line. We're going to step down in this ditch. And I just wanted to show you what I was talking about earlier about the driveway. One culvert, a couple loads of gravel here. And I'll probably go around that boulder or have your excavator operator move it. And we just step in here about 50 feet. And we're on the existing driveway. At one time, this land was a larger parcel of land. One owner, they had trails going through it, and this was one of them. So here's our trail, and it kind of forks here. This trail going off to the southwest goes off the property, comes back on the property. It's kind of a hiking trail. The neighbors to the south of us here haven't posted anything. There's corner pins, but no real clear boundary markers in between. So you're gonna have to use your mapping or some discretion on where you're at, or maybe get together with your neighbor and have a surveyor flag the lines in between. As we come in here on the land, you're gonna notice there's some beautiful trees. We got some big white pine right here. We got another really nice spruce tree over there, another big white pine here. And as we walk through the forest, folks, you're gonna see some of the better timber that I've had to show in quite a while. I know a lot of people like, oh, they just looking for something that hasn't been timber harvested. It's not always easy to find that in the state of Maine. Here's a property that hasn't been, and we're gonna show you some really nice trees. I think you could DIY a couple of cabins in here really easy. If you want to do a pine log cabin, maybe spruce. I see some white cedar in here when I walked it the first time. Looks quite large. I don't know how much there is, but you might poke around and find quite a bit of that. As we come in a little further, there is an old camper here. Full disclosure, that camper's of really little value other than maybe salvage the trailer for trail work, but it is going to stay on the property. The sellers are not removing it. So this is our open area here. You could build a cabin here. You can pick any place you want to build on this property. That's going to be up to you. Okay, we're going to jump in here past this cleared lot and kind of look around the forest a little bit. A lot of this land is softwood timber. And as we come in here, there's a white pine to my left right there that's probably 16, 18 inches in diameter and 40, 50 feet high. It's not a huge one. There's some much bigger ones like that one over there that's probably 22, 3 inches in diameter, and that's probably 75 feet tall. Beautiful timber in here. We've got an aspen right here, pretty mature. And then you're going to see various ages of spruce fir and white pine as we walk through here. And I don't know if you probably can't tell from the video, but I'm coming downhill slightly. The elevations on site here run about 470 feet above sea level at the road front, and at the very back of the lot, 390 feet. So it's a very gentle slope away from the road as you come in. And here we have some younger pine growing, pretty well spaced out. As you can see, the understory here has been crowded out by these older trees, and it's starting to die. So your small balsams like this one, you know, they're dying in the understory. There's not much light. If you were to come in here and do a harvest and cut some of these trees for your own use, or maybe to resell, you could open this up, and these trees that are left are going to grow a lot faster. As we continue walking through here and tell you a little bit more about the soils on this property, according to the NRCS Web Soil Survey, are about 100% pasted loams. And those are soils that typically you'll find in farmland. They're good for growing just about everything. In this particular location, because of the rocks and because of some of the slopes in the area, not great farmland unless you cut down the trees, pulled some rocks, and lime the soil to bring the pH up, because this has been a softwood forest for probably forever. It's going to have a very low pH. It's going to be difficult to grow anything other than trees here until you fix it. But that being said, if you want to put a small food plot or a garden in here, you don't mind doing a little bit of work, should grow really good. By the way, I know a lot about this area, and I haven't told you this yet, but I actually own a property in here. That's why I know so much about Seboeis. One of our off-grid properties that we own is in behind this gate, and if you need more details on what this area is like, feel free to call me anytime. I'm located just about in the center of this 11.2 acres right now, and that, as you can see around me, what you have is pine forest with some balsam fir and spruce in it. Over here, right around this nice sized pine right here, got a really big eastern white cedar. And I did see some of these in here the other day. This one's pretty straight. I think it could be used for saw timber, at least a portion of it. Depends on how they saw out. White cedar often can have red rot in it, and you don't know it till you cut them down sometimes. But this is a really pretty forest, very quiet in here. There's very little vegetation on the forest floor. But just a very quiet place. The only thing I can hear right now are the crickets and the wind blowing in the trees. As we walk through the forest here, let me tell you a little bit about this location here in Seboeis Plantation. There are a lot of things to do here other than chill out at your camp lot. The association here has access to both Seboeis Stream, where there's a common lot where you can launch a small boat or a canoe. These two streams run out of, one runs out of Endless Lake, one runs out of East Branch Lake. I used to fish them for trout, still do once in a great while. Last time I was there, my wife actually caught a small landlocked salmon. But yeah, those are two beautiful streams that run right through the ownership here of this association of owners. The South Branch Lake, I actually grew up on South Branch Lake. My grandparents built a cabin there the year I was born. And I'm not going to tell you when that was, but it was a while ago. 2,035 acres roughly in that lake. It's about 28 feet deep. Excellent smallmouth bass fishing. We used to fill 5-gallon pails full of white perch there. I'm sure you still could. I have in the wintertime with my kids. Beautiful place to fish. Great boat landing there. You can put in any size boat. Limited development around this lake because a lot of it's owned by the Penobscot Indian Nation. So the kind of what you see over there is what you're going to have. That's a beautiful part of the state. And public reserve lands. And if you've ever heard of the PRL, you'll see it on some of the maps. Maps of Maine, that's public land open to the public for hunting, hiking, bird watching. Pick some mushrooms while you're in there. There's 1,000 acres of that PRL in behind this gate system, which is pretty unusual. Normally you don't find too much public reserve land that doesn't have deeded access, but I think this is one of those few. So that's about 1,000 acres of land within this gated area between Seboeis Stream and where we're at right now. There's about 23,000 acres just a little northwest of us. That's called the Seboeis unit of public reserve lands, and that contains thousands of acres. Like I said, 23,000 plus acres, a lot of frontage on Seboeis Lake and quite a bit of frontage on Endless Lake. Open to the public, hunting, fishing, hiking, snowmobiling. They allow the trail systems to go through there. Beautiful part of the state. And then a little, let's see, that'd be east of us, I think, here is the pond farm. That's a wildlife management area maintained by the state, and it was developed years ago. When I was a kid, we used to duck hunt there. I remember when they drained that pond, they put a dam in, they planted wild rice, they dug holes, blew up holes in the middle of the pond to create those pothole effect that ducks and geese and waterfowl are always looking for. That's open to the public for hunting and camping around that. And the upland part, I think there's 405 acres roughly of wetlands and a little more acreage in the uplands around the edges of it. Great place to go hunting for waterfowl or upland birds on the edges. Still amazed at the trees we're finding in here. Here's a beautiful, healthy looking white cedar right here. If you look over here about 15 feet away, big eastern white pine. That's probably a solid 4 inches in diameter. And then if I walk right over here, for all you people that watch and say we never have any trees, well, this lot's for you. And then right here, this is a big old white spruce, and that's a big sucker. That's, yeah, what's that, 18, 19 inches in diameter. Very nice tree, pretty straight. It is a little limby, but if you got a small portable sawmill, maybe a little tractor where you can get the wood out of here, you could easily build yourself a beautiful log cabin in here and get all of the raw material right here in the forest. All right, well folks, we've seen a lot of the forest in here. We're gonna head back out to the pickup and I'll wrap up the video out there with all the terms. As we're walking through here, I also wanted to tell you a couple other things. Number one, it's not all softwood. We've seen enough hardwood on this lot that if you were to have a cabin in here and you wanted to cut your own firewood for heat, plenty of it in here. You should never run out unless you're really doing it as a commercial logging operation. A couple other things I want to tell you while we're walking is you've got real good access to the ATV and snowmobile trail system in this area. They can be reached right from the property. You can ride the association roads, which will eventually lead you right out to the trail system along the Ridge Road or the Mountain Road coming in off till you get to East Branch Road. Snowmobile in the wintertime, you can ride. Sometimes this road, parts of it are plowed. My brother and I actually have a cabin in here, and we occasionally plow part of the road. Not going to make any promises that's going to go on forever, but we've been doing it now for a few years. Let's see, what else can I tell you about this? Association dues. We have a lot of roads in here to maintain. Not a lot of people are like, oh my God, there's a homeowners association. Well, not really. This is a road owners association, and we all kick in a couple $100 per lot per year to keep the roads graded, fix the bridges when needed. You got a washout to take care of. You know, you gotta have the revenue for that. And if you've been on a road system that's not part of an association, you'll notice a big difference when only a handful of people are spending their money on the maintenance. Not a lot gets done. So this road is usually kept up quite well. Like I said, there's an annual meeting here in the summer you can attend, but pretty low impact, low maintenance association designed mostly just to take care of this road system. Hey, thanks for coming along on this tour of this beautiful 11.2 acre lot here in the town of Seboeis Plantation. Let's wrap this up, but before we do, again, don't forget, like, share, and hit that subscription bell. This property is priced, as I said earlier, at $33,900. We have some incredibly beautiful mature timber on this property, along with some younger growth to replace it when you do a harvest. The taxes on this are a whopping $17 per year. Yes, you heard that correctly. It's not a typo. Road Association maintenance dues, $200 a year. For $217 a year, folks, that's it. You're all in. We've got 305 feet of frontage on East Branch Road. We got access to both the East Branch Stream and Seboeis Stream, nearby lakes, nearby wildlife management areas. It's a beautiful piece of property. It's not going to last long, so I know you've heard me say it before. You better call quick. It may be gone before this video actually gets done editing. So 207-794-6164. Ask for Phil. I'll tell you all about it.